Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are thick into the planting season. We're well into it. We're into summer. You're seeing the summer thing. The crepe myrtles are in full bloom. They're beautiful. Smoke bush in full bloom. There's a couple natives that are really showy right now. There's a big one out in Dewey, Mayer, Skull Valley, down towards the Verde Valley area. There's a real pretty tree, about just shy of 20 feet, kind of a big vase-shaped bush or a short tree. It's called a desert willow. It's a native. It's absolutely fabulous. So that tree, you can plant yourself in your yard. Just once you get up to size, you never have to care for it again. It is a true Arizona native. Let her go. A little caveat. So the newer varieties of desert willows, we probably have 3 or 4 different colors, named varieties of desert willows, and we're trying to develop more because it's such a hardy tree for here. Desert willows natively will form a bean, or looks like a green bean that comes off the branch where the flower was. And so what it will do when it's done blooming is it focuses on make beans, reproduce, spread them throughout the yard, have little babies everywhere coming up around me. I want more desert willows. And so they stop blooming. Actually, a little insider tip. If you pick those beans off, it will go right back in the bloom again, just like that. Within a few days, boom, right back into bloom. So if you pick the beans off, you want it to bloom again, there you go. The newer varieties of desert willows that we've introduced, like we no longer sell the native desert willow. We want it for the flower. We want it for the hardiness. We want it for the toughness. We want it for the hummingbirds as a pollinator source. There's a lot of reasons we want it, but it's not for the beans. And so we've bred the beans out of the new varieties. You have different colors of flowers, but no beans. So now what happens is it blooms longer because it's trying to pollinate. It's thinking, I need to reproduce. I must keep blooming. Let the butterflies and the hummingbirds pollinate me longer. And then when it does finally drop, it goes, oh no, I didn't form a bean. I should actually set flowers by themselves. So this thing pulsates flowers over and over simply because we found a variety that doesn't put a bean on. And so it blooms even longer. It's a fantastic. The whole Bubba series is a tremendous new line of desert willows. And so Blue Beauty, Desert Beauty, there's Burgundy. There's a whole series of them. They're all native. Another one's just like that. It doesn't bloom, but it's a great screening plant. It's called Arizona Cypress. It's a native. Obviously got the word Arizona in it. In fact, they grow. They're so desirable. They're planted all over the globe. In fact, the prettiest one I've ever seen anywhere. I was in Barcelona. Of course, we love botanical gardens. We go to the botanical garden in Barcelona, Spain, and there is the most spectacular desert Arizona cypress I have ever seen. It was magnificent, beautiful color, perfect shape. So this is a thick plant, about 25 feet tall, 12 feet wide. It is a blockbuster. It just keeps for privacy screens, windbreaks, keeps the headlights from coming down into your living room. There's a lot of it keeps the dust down. It's a good plant for that and a truly native. Get it up to size. You never have to water it. Never care for it again. No pruning needed, no water, just kind of maybe you might fertilizer to keep the color going on it, but that's it. It's true native. We've done a couple other ones. One that you wouldn't think would be that tough, but it really is, especially at the higher elevations, like a Groom Creek and the Highland Pines, the ridgelines, the 6,000 foot and above, is aspen. But did you know aspens grow? Aspen Creek is right here in Prescott, Arizona. You can walk there from the studio right here. You're just wild going down through this west side of a valley, and they're stunning. The most spectacular aspens I've ever seen were grown in Dewey. Huge trunks, fully mature, beautiful plants. I've grown them down at the 42,000 foot level down in Skull Valley. So they'll grow from the Verde Valley, Sedona, all the way up. And so now's a good time to plant those. Now at the lower elevations, you might have to put them on a drip system at the higher elevations where they naturally grow. You could probably get them up to size and let them go on their own. But all plants, all of them, appreciate a little gardener's green thumb, caring, nurturing, fertilizing, talking to them. Plants do actually respond to that. They like that. And so an aspen is a great one. There's an Arizona ash that you can plant. Now, Arizona, there's also a Modesto ash, which is a cousin over towards New Mexico. It's the same. I can't tell the difference. They're pretty much a tree up to about 20 feet by, I don't know, 15 feet wide, nice lollipop shape. But another really bigger one than that is called Raywood ash. It's got a dynamic purple color, just dramatic in the fall of the year. But anytime you see the word ash, you know you've got a really tough plant. It's because it's got a real large, a big root structure. So it has a way of protecting itself. And the crown or the head of this plant protects and shades and cools itself. So it naturally regulates the temperature out there in the yard, not for you, but for itself. And so it just naturally is a benefit to you. It's a great shade tree. Another one is locusts. Anytime you see the word locust, there's native locusts that grow here, L-O-C-U-S-T, locust. My favorite is probably golden locust or honey locust. And the only reason being, the native ones, they've got this great big old thorn. Man, if you walk by it, it wants to bite you. And so I'm going, I don't know about thorny things. I know they're tough, but we figured out how to breed the thorn out of it. There's a way to have more beautiful plants that are nicer to people and the environment. And so if you can find a variety that's as tough as a native without all the thorns, and it's got a real nice umbrella shaped canopy, woo, you've got the tree. That's the one. And so golden is great. The reason they call it honey locust or golden locust is that the new growth comes out golden or yellow kind of in the spring. All the new growth is fantastic yellow. Right now, it's all green with maybe it's like a beautiful woman that came out of a salon with golden highlights. I mean, just wow, it's beautiful green with these golden highlights. It's good. Wow, that looks really pretty. But the main focus of the plant is just green, just thick, rich green. The thing about locusts is they've got real fine leaves. So they've got rows of very small leaves, which make them very efficient on their water use. And here's the insider tip. Locusts, when they're deciduous, that is, they're going to lose their leaves in the winter or in the late fall, usually by November, by Thanksgiving. They're deciduous. They've lost their leaves. The beauty with that, the leaves are so small, they just blow away. I don't know where they go, but they just disappear. There's very little raking needed for locusts, whereas a sycamore, a big maple, some of those big leafed things, you're going to have to rake things up. So anyway, golden color, obviously gold color in new growth, green in the summer, gold again in the fall of the year. So that's locusts. Pine trees. So pinyon pines and ponderosa pines both do exceptionally well. Now, that being said, I have a favorite pinyon pine. I like the single leaf pinyon pine. It's got a chubbier needle to it. That's the one that they harvest pinyon pine nuts on. It's got a little bit chubbier, fuller, thicker, bluer look to it, and it forms nuts out of the pine cones much faster than the native one. And they're sweeter. They're just juicier. They're more buttery. So it's a better trend. And they're less prone to scale. There's a little bug that gets on it. Easy to deal with, but this one doesn't get that. And then ponderosa pine, there's a cousin to ponderosa. Ponderosa, basically, when you plant a ponderosa, you're planting a trunk. I mean, within 5 years, the foliage is up there and the trunk is down here, and you just have this great big old trunk growing next to the deck. A better one out in the landscape is called Austrian pine. It's a direct cousin of ponderosa pine. It's a long-needled pine, but it holds the Austrian. That cousin holds the foliage right down to the ground. It still has a central leader, main trunk, and the branches swoop off of that, but it swoops and holds it right down to the ground. So now you can use it to screen, block wind. It's more shapely, especially out in that island in the middle of the yard. You don't need a trunk. You need something that gives you some presence, fills up part of that landscape. That's by far a better choice. But equally, as hardy, and now is the best time. You can plant any one of those right now, and they would absolutely thrive in the yard. So I've got a lot in store for you, but we've got Lisa Watersling coming in right after this.
Wondering why the grass is always greener on the other side? Well, it's probably because your neighbor used the all-purpose fertilizer from Waters Garden Center. Monsoon is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to feed your plants. Waters all-purpose fertilizer is the only organic made especially for Arizona mountain soils. Don't buy a bunch of different fertilizer for your flowers, veggies, trees, or grass. This one does it all. The plants on your side will be happier, healthier, well, greener. Safe, natural, organic. Waters Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.